This video is sponsored by VERO. This was my second time in Patagonia and I was very excited to share all the places that I knew with the group of people that had just arrived. We arrived in El Calafate. We were a group of 7 people. And this time I had shared all the places that I knew last time with a group. So the expedition started at Punta Soberana. Afternoon, we went to Cuevas de Gualincho, also in the Argentinian lake. The wind was so strong that it was forming some waves at the lake. The second day we went to Perito Moreno Glacier. The sky was so beautiful that morning. The participants were amazed at how huge that thick wall of ice was. We also have explored some different places surrounding the glacier Perito Moreno. After we were done exploring Perito Moreno Glacier, we went to Nibepo Ike. It is a kind of a farm where you have horses and sheep and beautiful views, especially the one from the lake. Oh, wait here. I have noticed this lonely tree here, and that was going to be my second subject, because my first subject was just around the lake. A fence that was submerged into the lake. With so many beautiful landscapes locations I have been through this video, I thought about posting them on VERO, but this time, for all of you who are wondering where is exactly the place, I will add a place tag on my photos posted there. Did you know it's possible to add a place tag to any of your photos when you post them on VERO? Let me show you quickly how it works. I have this post here about this tree. It is very hard to know the location. It could be anywhere in the world. So I go to Add Place. I usually click on the city first, in this case El Calafate. Then I look for Nibepo Ike, where it was taken. There's my first option. So I choose it and then I'm ready to post it to my followers. Other than that, you can click on any photo with a tag location be it on your own feed or in anyone's feed, and get more information about the place. And if you click on it, you have 3 options now: Foursquare, Bing, or from your own camera. If you've already been there, click on the photo you choose and then you can post something like "I'm in," or "I was there," or "I wanna go," or "I recommend," or "do not recommend." So there you go. Really hope you enjoyed this, because I will be posting more and more photos with a tag location on my VERO feed from this expedition. If you don't follow me there yet, I'll leave a link in the description of the video. On our 3rd day, we went to El Chaltén. So we made our stop at La Leona. And the participants were able to take some shots. I even gave them a small gift, a set of things that were needed in the upcoming trails. I was so excited to see those mountains again. Just when we arrived, there were lots of lenticular clouds. We went straight into one of the easiest trails in the region, Mirador de los Condores. The weather forecast wasn't good for our 4th day, so for this day we decided to stay at the hotel. We took the time to edit some of the images we had already made in Lightroom and Photoshop, and I have shared some of my workflow with the participants. For the next day, we were full recovered and ready to go into the mountains. However, there was a snow forecast, and we were preparing to leave. This was one of the coldest days I have ever tasted in Patagonia. It was nearly impossible to see Mount Fitzroy. So I decided, instead of looking at the lake, I turned my attention to the other side. When we went back, the city was under heavy snow. So the next day we were really tired. So what we did was to take off the van and shoot whenever we saw something that came to our attention. We went to Lago del Desierto, but this time I couldn't really find any composition interesting. But on the way back I found this really interesting dead tree. And finally we made our last stop at Chorrillo del Salto. The water flow was so much higher than the last time I visited, mainly due to the rains and snowfall. Yes, I got a sore throat. On the 7th day, we decided to go to Laguna Torre. And we decided to face the 9 kilometers hike. At some point, unfortunately, I couldn't film it, but I think we saw a puma. It was crossing our way. It was really scary. And when we finally arrived at Laguna Torre, I have that same feeling that I had when I was at Laguna de los Tres last year, a feeling of achievement. It wasn't a hike so hard than Laguna de los Tres, but the same feeling was there. We were lucky enough to get no clouds, absolutely clear sky, and almost no wind. On our way back, we enjoyed the views from Cerro Torre. Tell you what, those guys were restless. At afternoon, we made a stop to shoot Mount Fitzroy at sunset on the road. It was packed with a lot of photographers from other groups. But this time, instead of focusing on Mount Fitzroy, I took my attention to a cloud that was right above Cerro Ruemudo. It was a beautiful morning, so I ran to get my camera and my telephoto lens to make this photo, right at the hotel we were in. And then we made our way to Laguna Azul. When we arrived there, there was no wind at all. Sometimes the wind just picked up a little bit, but we were patient enough to wait it for a perfect reflection. It's amazing how the weather can change in a couple of minutes sometimes. We waited for the rain to pass and we went to Piedra del Fraile. But wait, something terrible just happened to me at this exact point, which I'll tell you a little bit later. It was a really easy hike. Sometimes the rain would come and we had to get our rain covers. But it was a pleasant walk. When we arrived at Piedra del Fraile camping, we met a very interesting man. He lived in that cabin. His name was Marco and he lived in Brazil, and he's been in this cabin for 18 years. He's a climber and he told us so many stories. This hike was all about the journey in and the journey back. There was no interesting point at the camping. Remember just a while ago, at the beginning of our hike, that something terrible happened to me at this point? Well, at that time I didn't know exactly what I was, but when I went back to the hotel, I couldn't find my wallet. So I started looking everywhere for my wallet and couldn't find. It wasn't in the van, it wasn't in the hotel, so the only place left was the trail. So we went back to the trail at night. We went back there at night, and thanks to this gentleman, we were able to retrieve my wallet. Everything was there, can you believe it? No one has stolen anything. All my money was there, $400. This was our last day of the expedition, so we made a stop right at the entrance of El Chaltén to shoot again Mount Fitzroy with the road in a different light condition. Stop right here at this point. I have noticed Cerro Huemul with a very interesting composition with the clouds, so I waited patiently for the right moment. And all of the group were shooting from different angles Mount Fitzroy and the road. made some shots from Fitzroy and turned my camera to Cerro Huemu at the right time.